You see the thumbnail right there? What does that look like to you? Disneyland. That's what that is. That's Disneyland. When I think of Disneyland, I think of movies like Aladdin. I think of movies like Fantasia, Kazam, the Disney Channel. All of those feel-good movies that made us feel good. I think about my childhood. I think about Snow White. Man, what other movies came out on Disney? Man, they have so many movies. I can't even remember all of them. But I just remember every time I would watch Disney, I would feel good. You know, Disney showed us a lot of fiction. It took us away from reality. And that's what life was for a lot of us. It was like Disneyland. When I think about Disneyland, I feel great. I feel happy. I feel like this dopamine. I remember when my grandmother passed, and it was one of the most loneliest times in my life when my grandmother died. She died from lung cancer. And I lived with her for 6 months before she passed away. So the Most High gave me 6 months to enjoy my time with her last days. And when she left, I was so lonely. I never felt that lonely in my life. I'm talking about a painful loneliness. Going from being in a house filled with life and love, food. You know, my grandmother would cook all the time, to living in an empty house where no one was there. That energy, all of that was gone. And I was left alone. And when I would go to work and come back home to that empty apartment we lived in, it felt so lonely. It was like, it was agony, agonizing pain. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I would go to the gym and work out. I would work out for hours because I was trying to escape that loneliness. And once the gym time was over with, I was like, what do I do next? My grandmother ain't here no more. I don't have her to talk to. She ain't cooking no more. I don't have the smell of her cigarettes because she was a chain smoker. She would smoke cigarettes back to back. And I remember I used to buy her packs of cigarettes, cartons of cigarettes. I wasn't helping. But my grandmother didn't give a damn about living anymore. She was ready to go. So she wanted to accelerate. She wanted to accelerate her time. The doctor had already told her, you know, to quit smoking, and she did for a while. And gave her more years of life. And then she just said, fuck it. She ain't care no more. She gave up. And I remember seeing my grandmother those last days, man, and my grandmother looked scary. And I would be in my room reading my Bible and all that stuff, and my grandmother was shunning the Bible. In so many words, she was like, fuck the Bible, fuck God. She come in the house slamming cabinets. She come in with a trench coat on, a black trench coat with a black hat. I'm talking about she looked scary. I was scared. I looked at her, I was like, wow. Almost looked demonic to me. You know what I'm saying? She was angry because she knew she was on her way out of here. And she left, man, and it ain't been the same since my grandmother died. It ain't been the same since, but make a long story short, Disneyland is over. I see folks on the internet talking about a shift that has happened in life. And I see this shift too. But if you're one of the people, if you're a spiritual person and you've always been, then you've always been ready for this shift. But a lot of folks not ready. They ain't ready, and they never were ready for this shift. This is why a lot of people are complaining about this, because Disneyland is over for them. Everything is being uncovered. All of the dirty lies, all of the secrets, all of the deceit is pretty much coming to light these days. Can no longer live in a smoke screen anymore. All of the things that we thought were great, that we thought were safe, no longer. See, when I was growing up in the 90s, and a lot of people talk about the 90s. They talk about how great the 90s was. And the 90s was great. But we had no idea of how much sinister stuff was going on behind the scenes. When we thought about entertainment, we thought about Hollywood, we thought about something great, thought about something fun, a place where all of us wanted to go. I know for me, growing up as a kid, I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be in Hollywood so bad. And now, in my older age, I'm like, wow, I'm glad I never got into acting. Glad I didn't. Because to hear about the things that these people are going through now, all of these things that are coming out about these entertainers, man, it's crazy. Who would want to give their child away to that? So I'm very glad and blessed that I never got into acting, because it is a very sinister and devious place to be in. We see it every day about some new scandal coming out about one of these celebrities. All of the dark things that have happened behind the scenes to these celebrities. Another thing I want to touch on is this. If you're a spiritual person, you've been attacked your whole life. Folks talk about gang stalking. They talk about people watching them, feeling watched. We've been watched all along. And I talked about this before. This didn't just start happening. When they gave us a social security number, a birth certificate, a license plate, you've been watched. That was them monitoring you the whole time. And people miss that. See, people think that it just started with a cell phone. It didn't just start with a cell phone, man. You got cameras in the traffic lights. You have a satellite. You know what I'm saying? We've been tracked. They track us because we're slaves in the economy that needs us. We're the slaves that keep the economy going. We keep these billionaires, millionaires, and these trillionaires rich. So if their fucking slaves are going off grid, they don't have anyone to put money in their pockets. Think about that. This comes down to money. You are a slave on a ship. And they need your energy. They need your body to make that money. When you get older, they don't give a damn about you as much because you're no longer useful in this system. They get you on jobs. They make you work a job for about 10 to 20 years or longer just so you can get retirement. So you can build your 401k, your social security, and all the other benefits, the medical benefits, all of that stuff that comes with that benefits package. This is how they reel you in to get slave labor out of you, by giving you a bunch of benefits and a retirement plan. And you invested 20 years of your life into a job. And you didn't spend 20 years with your family. You didn't spend 20 years on yourself. You spent 20 years building that company up. You gave your life away. And this is what a lot of folks in the workforce have done. They have given their life away to something that doesn't give them life back. Even though it probably puts some money in their pocket. But I guarantee these people are very drained and very weary. So we've always been watched. As long as you come into this earth, in this economy, you're a slave on this ship. Remember that. The only way to be free is to go off grid or through awareness. If you don't have the means to go off grid, then you have to live through awareness. That's spiritual awareness. But Disneyland is over. If you're a spiritual person, you've been attacked by your family all your life. All your life you felt like an outcast. Throughout your life, you've seen a lot of things that most kids don't see. You've had experiences that most kids don't experience. You've seen the spiritual realm that a lot of people don't even know about. You talk this stuff to them and they have no clue. You've always felt watched. You just couldn't put a finger on it because you've been distracted by Disneyland. So right now, because Disneyland is over with, now we're living in reality. If you watch the Matrix movie, Morpheus showed Neo the real reality once he came out of the Matrix. He showed him how the robots scorched the sky, or we scorched the sky, however way it goes. But it was a very grim reality that he showed on that TV. Even though you look out that window, you still see the sun shining. It's still warm, it's still cold outside, but it doesn't feel the same. That's because we're living in the real reality now. The YouTube, social media has uncovered all the hidden truths about everything. So it doesn't make the human experience fun anymore. We're not living in mystery anymore. We know everything. And that can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. It's good to know some stuff, but sometimes it's best to not know a lot. Because that way, that way you can experience life for yourself. And we're not experiencing life for ourselves anymore because somebody is quick to run to social media and expose everything. We're living in the age of Aquarius where truth is on top. Spiritual enlightenment is becoming more prominent in people's lives. A lot of people are becoming more aware of what's going on around them. But me, in my life, I've always experienced this stuff. This is why I'm not moved or shocked by any of this. When I look at the internet, when I look online and I see people making these videos and I just look and I like what some of these people are saying, but I'm like, man, I've been experiencing this through family. I've experienced this on jobs. I've always been a target by somebody throughout my whole life. So this is nothing new for me. This is something new for a lot of you because a lot of you have been blinded by your environment. You thought that everything was cool, but I didn't grow up like that. I grew up living hyper vigilant. Had to. A lot of folks that are spiritually enlightened were probably molested in their life. They were probably bullied. They went through a lot of hardships with their family. They were probably put out of schools a lot. Had to go to alternative schools. They never thought they never fit in. They always had some type of conflict or opposition in their life from somebody, whether it's family or somebody outside of their family. Probably had learning disability, hard time learning because of ADHD. But they have the spiritual gifts. Those are the people who have the highest spiritual intelligence. People who go through that amount of opposition. So yeah, this stuff has always been going on, y'all. Disneyland is over. Welcome to real reality. And real reality sucks for a lot of us because a lot of us weren't prepared. But we were out partying, enjoying the fictitious life that was before COVID. That was in the 90s. We should have been sitting down reading Revelations the whole time, getting ready for what was to come. And a lot of us didn't. We didn't prepare for the end times. So now, 2026, we want to cry, we want to whine, and we want to run to YouTube with all of our gripes in life. And I'm like, it's too late now. Should have been prepared yourself. If you had prepared yourself years back, this would be nothing for you. This would be a fucking cakewalk because you would know how to maneuver through this stuff. But what I see with a lot of folks is a lot of whining and a lot of crying. Life is so bad. It ain't bad. You need to change your perception of this shit. You need to adjust for what's happening out here. Shift. Those who are spiritually enlightened know how to weather through this storm. And those who aren't won't get left behind. They'll continue to complain and whine on YouTube about this, that, and never doing anything about it. It doesn't have to be a real physical death for you to die. People die because they get left behind. They get stuck in time. They get stuck in nostalgia and they never move forward. They get stuck in Disneyland and they never get off the ride. But Disneyland is over, folks. All of that fake shit that we were doing back in the day, it's over. All of that performance-driven culture that we were under, it's over. This is why you see people dry, no energy. because people are no longer performing. You hear what I'm saying? People aren't performing anymore. People aren't coming outside dressed to the nines anymore because Disneyland is over with. If you really think about it, we were performing all along. If you think about the culture we live in an entertainment culture. Entertainment pretty much runs America. Our media, music, sports, it pretty much runs and influences how we act, how we think, how we dress, has a major impact on us. So because that stuff is dying out and we're starting to see through all this stuff that it's nothing but entertainment and a performance, what do you think is happening to the people? The people are no longer performing anymore. So you have a lot of dry personalities out here. A lot of folks have been hijacked by entities. The music industry has opened up portals. Folks are talking about witchcraft as if witchcraft just happened. Witchcraft has been going on. It's been going on before the 90s. It's been going on before the 70s, the 50s. It's always been here. And this is what pisses me off about a lot of these content creators. You people speak on shit and you drag a subject so you can milk as much money out of it as if this is something new. This shit ain't nothing new what's going on out here, man. It ain't. So I'm really getting sick and tired of you young newbies to life who feel like you just reinvented the fucking wheel talking about shit that has already happened. Dude, we were doing seance when I was a kid. Do you hear what I'm saying? You people are so spooked out. You think that witchcraft is so bad. It's your intentions behind what you do. It's not the act itself. It's the intentions behind it. Just like the words you say. What are the intentions behind those words? What's the energy behind it? Just like the music we put out. What are the intentions and the energy behind that music? What is the force coming behind that? But some of you are so spooked out, so scared. I see a lot of scared ass people out here today. That's what I see. A lot of cowards. A lot of people tucking their tail, trying to run and hide in their fucking house. But guess what? Hiding in your house ain't gonna fix nothing. It ain't gonna save you from dying. You're gonna die any fucking way, whether it be in your house or outside. It's coming for you. You people speak of Christ. And you talk about Christ and you talk about the Bible and all that. But you know what? Christ didn't go hiding in his fucking house like a fucking coward because he was scared to be out in the field. He was out there. So that's what I'm saying with a lot of people out here. I'm saying this whole thing about, I don't want to be around people and I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Stay in your fucking house. Stay in there. I'm going to tell y'all this right here. I was in solitary confinement many times in my life. And I can tell you this, spending time in solitary confinement wasn't fun for me. I was able to weather that storm too. But I'm telling you, once I was released from solitary confinement, from being locked down for 23 hours a day and only coming out for 1 hour, when I was let back in population around people, I was so fucking happy to be around people again. It was like the best day of my fucking life. People were like, well, look where you at. How can you be happy? I'm like, it was the best day of my life because you have no idea what it's like to be stuck in a box for hours throughout the day and you don't have anybody to talk to but yourself. You can only read so many books before you have to deal with the reality in front of you. You just got to deal with that shit. They try to pacify you with books on top of books and books and books to take you out of the reality. The reality is that you are in that box and you got to learn how to deal with it. And that's the same way with this life right here. This is what a lot of folk are trying to do. They're trying to escape through all of this other shit out here, through food, through overly working out, overly complaining about everything, drugs, We're not really having sex that much. So, that's all at the table because men and women can't seem to come to an agreement that we need each other. So we ruin that experience for each other. So we're running to everything else to cope. So for real, we are our own worst enemy. But Disneyland is over. Disneyland is over because we see a collapsing economy. The money ain't right anymore. I'm not going to speak on politics too much on this channel. I'm not going to get on that. But we don't like the political game. We don't like how that's going because that's affecting a lot of our lives in a fucked up way. So that's draining people's energy too. Social media is draining our energy. The music industry is draining our energy. We're being drained from all ends of this world. Every spectrum is draining us. Disneyland is over. I'm going to keep saying that throughout this video. Disneyland is over, folks. What are you going to do? How are you going to weather through this storm out here? What is your game plan? Are you going to keep complaining? Are you going to be a coward, tuck your tail, and hide in your house all day because you're afraid to lose your life? Or you're afraid of conflict from people instead of facing the reality head on and dealing with it with a spiritual fight? Confronting the situation instead of running from it? Because that's what we need to be doing. But what are we doing? We're running to everything else instead of running to that fucking bully. We supposed to be fighting back. But what I'm saying with people is, nah, don't fight back, man. Go in the house and hide. Stay away from everything. Stay away from people. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. You do need to use discernment out here when dealing with shit. But that's not just now. That's us always been that way. People didn't just become people. I'm going to tell y'all something right here. This shit, like I said, Disneyland is over with. So before, people were performing back in the day, believe it or not. As good as you think that things were, as much as you think things were great back then, it really wasn't. People were performing. Yes, people's spirit was probably different because of the atmosphere, but that doesn't mean that they weren't performing and putting on a fucking performance for us. Y'all have to realize that we're manipulated by the media, by TV, these TV shows, these movies. So we have taken on these characters. And a lot of us are taking these characters outside every day with us in our everyday life, and we don't know what's real and what's not. We're living through a character's life that we saw on TV. We're living through our family members' lives. So we never get down to the real person of who are we really. And now we're seeing people that are dry and people who lack personality because Disneyland is over. The performance is over. Sorry to tell you, folks. Disneyland is over. The act is up. And if you want to survive in this new world that's here right now, you better have some awareness of what you're dealing with out here. Because you're going to be sad, you're going to be depressed, and you're going to isolate yourself. And this is why people are isolating themselves, because they can't handle this shit out here. They can't deal with it. You got to adjust your game in order for you to keep evolving in this thing. People fake. It's lame out here. Well, you know that. You got to go with the current. People ain't talking that much. Hey, get on the same level with them. Give the same energy that people give you. If they don't want to talk, don't talk to them. People ain't rocking with you, don't rock with them. Don't force it. Don't force anything out here. That's something I definitely want to, for you to understand, is to not force the situation. Don't try too hard. Don't give too much energy into something. Don't put too much energy into something that ain't giving it back to you. If you're in a relationship where your woman isn't giving you the same energy you giving her, don't give it. And vice versa. If you're a woman with a man that ain't giving you the same energy, back up. Same with your family. If they ain't rocking with you, don't rock with them. If you want a job where they treating you like shit, hey, give it right back to them. Or leave. Find something else. But don't be out here trying too hard, for real, because people ain't trying that hard no more. And as you can see, y'all can see that. People ain't trying that hard. People come outside every day looking like a bowl of shit. They don't even try to put on nice clothes anymore. People got bad attitudes, people angry. And I'm going to tell y'all why people are angry and people are depressed and isolated and all these things. Because they were never ready for the shift. This is why they are having a hard time weathering through this storm. This is why a lot of people are complaining and angry, depressed, crashing out on themselves, killing people, all these type of crazy things. And a lot of this stuff has been happening, but we're hearing about it more because we have so much media out there to tell us about this stuff. So it's constantly thrown in our face. So we think that this stuff is like something new, but it's always been there. You know what I mean? We're not just getting our news from Fox 5 or ABC News or NBC and all these other news outlets. We're not, or C-SPAN or whatever the fuck, man. We're not just getting our news from there. We're getting our news off of TikTok. We're getting our news from YouTube. We're getting our news off of Instagram. So we have so many outlets of media that are giving us news all day, every day. That can be draining too. And it'll make you feel like this stuff is like something new, but it's always been there. Y'all want to talk about the crime in the 90s? The crime in the 90s was fucking bad. You had to be a real soldier to survive in the 90s, man. I mean, we were at the height of the drug game back in the 90s. That's when shit was really jumping off out here. And y'all think this shit that's going on now is bad? Man, it was bad back then. But it was more structured. That was the difference. Things were more structured back then. When people was putting in work, it wasn't just out of stupidity. It had structure to it. And I'm not going to go into too many details about that. I'm going to let you read between the lines on that. But things were different. But the crime was still off the chain. So don't think that now is bad because back then was bad. And we didn't have all of this poisonous music back then that we have now. We didn't have all that shit. So we were still listening to R&B real heavy back then. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about Babyface. I'm thinking about Blackstreet. Man, I can't remember all them groups, man. But it was so much, TLC, SWV. We had it all back then. It was the 90s was a real prominent time. A lot of magic happened back then. And that was Disneyland back then. But a lot of good things came out of that. But Disneyland is over. Get that through your thick ass skull and remember that Disneyland is over. You gotta be equipped to navigate through this storm. Gotta be equipped for that. You should have been reading Revelations. You should have been preparing yourself. You should have been asking for the Spirit of Christ to reign upon your life every day. Should have been. A lot of y'all ain't ready. Y'all never was ready. And I'm going to tell you like this. A lot of y'all ain't spiritually ready. Y'all ain't spiritually ready and you ain't spiritually there. A lot of people are not there spiritually. Regardless of what these people putting out on the internet talking about they are chosen and all that. I'm like, nah, a lot of y'all not chosen. I hate to burst your bubble, but a lot of y'all not chosen. You're not. Uh-uh. I don't see it. I don't see it and I don't feel it. Disneyland is over, folks. Get your shit together and weather through this storm. Stop complaining. Stop going online with every gripe and complaint you have. Pick your fucking bootstraps up and soldier through this shit. Get yourself spiritually together. For all of those who are spiritually there, my spiritually enlightened people who have the light, the true source. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Disneyland is over.